Today we know that the extinction event that killed the dinosaurs was caused by a giant asteroid impact that hit near the present-day Yucatan Peninsula. But before the scientific community coalesced around that idea, there was another location they had their eye on. In India, there's a large igneous formation called the Deccan Traps, and by large, I mean it takes up maybe like a third of the subcontinent. A large igneous province is kind of like a supersized supervolcano. So like you got volcanoes, and then supervolcanoes, and then a large igneous province. So yeah, literally like a third of India was just a lake of lava. And this went on for like 600,000 years. But this event also just sort of happened to coincide with roughly when the dinosaurs went extinct, what they call the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary. So yeah, for like a long time, scientists thought that maybe this was the thing that did it. But then the Chicxulub crater was found, and the scientists kind of coalesced around that idea. But there is one more kind of interesting thing about the Deccan Traps. The Deccan Traps are kind of on the other side of the planet, almost the exact antipode is what they call it, the other side of the planet, from the Chicxulub impact. So there is a theory that maybe the Deccan Traps were set off by the Chicxulub impact. Like the shock waves rippled all the way around the world and then coalesced at the same spot on the other side of the world, and it just messed up the landscape so much that it set off this, super active supervolcano. It's not proven. It's just a theory, and there's still a lot of debate around exactly how much of an effect the Deccan Traps may have had on that extinction event. But no, it's possible that, the dinosaurs weren't just wiped out by one extinction event, but it was wiped out by two extinction events, like a perfect storm of extinction events. But that's just a reminder that extinction level events do happen fairly regularly throughout Earth's history. So regularly, in fact, that they can actually happen twice at the same time. So if you're someone that wallows in existential dread like I do, it leads you to kind of wonder, when's the next one? Hello everybody and welcome to the June Lightning Round video. Lightning Round videos, for those who don't know, are videos where I take questions from Patreons and members who support at the super awesome level, and they get to ask questions. I give kind of brief answers. Any of these that you see that are like, oh my god, I want to see a whole video on that, just let me know in the comments, and it could happen. Weirder things have happened. So thanks to everybody who asked a question. I really do appreciate it. I think we got some good ones today, so let's just bounce in there. So Brian Beswick asked, what's the most dangerous natural disaster humanity is statistically overdue for? Hence the intro. So this is a good question. It really put me into, I went a lot of places with this, so none of them good. So I did a little bit of Googling, and it turns out that the deadliest events in human history have all been things like floods and famines. So just kind of counting them down on my computer here, there's the Chalisa famine and the Doji Bara famine. These both took place in India from around 1783 to 1792. It was like two mega famines like stacked on top of each other. It was a bad time. But this one killed around 11 million people. About 100 years later, also in India, there was the Great Famine of 1876 to 1878. This was sparked by a massive failure of monsoons because of a hard El Nino that year. That killed 5.5 to 10 million deaths. But the top three all took place in China. There was the one from 1928 to 1930 that caused 3 million to 10 million deaths. The North China famine from 1876 to 1879 led to about 9 million to 13 million deaths. And the Great Chinese Famine in the 20th century, 59 to 61. I've talked about this one before. It was during that whole Great Leap Forward period where they were using Lysenkoism, very terrible agricultural practices. Anyway, it led to 15 million to 55 million deaths. So droughts and famines are natural disasters. That's why I kind of put those there. And the reason why they all seem to take place anyway in China and India, all the top ones anyway, I think it's just population. Both of them are very populous places, so when they have a famine, it's going to kill a whole lot more people. And obviously, droughts and famines are terrible events. They got up to about 55 million people in the worst one there, but if you really want to go hard, you got to look at plagues. If you consider plagues to be a natural disaster, then let's talk about plagues for a second. You got the plague of Justinian from the year 541 to 549 that killed 15 to 100 million people. That's a huge range. Huge range. I don't know, maybe they didn't keep track of that stuff as well back then. You got the influenza pandemic from 1918 to 1920. The Spanish flu is what it was called. That killed anywhere from 25 to 100 million people. I feel like the reporting should have been better by the 1900s. Still a wide range there. Then you got the good old Black Death, the bubonic plague from 1346 to 1353, killed 75 to 200 million people. But the worst offender, the worst plague that has taken place over 500 years, so maybe the numbers are a bit skewed because this has taken place over 500 years, is smallpox. It has killed between 300 and 500 million human beings over 500 years. I don't think we properly appreciate the world that we live in, that we have actually kind of eradicated smallpox. Like, it was the scourge of humanity and we have eradicated it almost completely. I think there are like little scattered, events that happen here and there, but I mean, like, it's gone. Can we just appreciate that we did that? That is incredible, really, when you think about it. Now, of course, those are all the worst disasters that have taken place in human history while we've been around. But as I mentioned in my documentary, Oldest News Places in the World, human history is just a sliver on the timeline of the life of planet Earth. And let's face it, we survived all those things. What is something that maybe we wouldn't survive? So let's take a look at the biggest extinction events that have taken place in all of Earth's history and what caused that. Simple answer, just like in the intro, volcanoes and asteroids. As I mentioned before, we have the Cretaceous and Paleogene boundary from 66 million years ago. That was an asteroid, some say comet, an impactor event anyway. Then you have the late Triassic extinction that was 201 million years ago. That was caused by an eruption of supervolcanoes. I believe that one was the Siberian traps, not the Deccan traps. So the Deccan traps were bad, as I mentioned before, and they're not the only traps in the world. So there's many to look out for, apparently. But the biggest extinction level event, this one was called the Great Dying, was between the Permian and Triassic, and it killed 95% of species on the planet Earth. And that one was a supervolcano. All right, so if we just narrow it all down, our biggest extinction level events that we need to be worried about, if we just narrowed it down to the ones that have walloped us in the past, it's asteroids, impactor events, and volcanoes. So let's take a look at just how often extinction level volcanic and asteroid impact events occur on planet Earth and see just how worried we need to be. Luckily, the numbers say that extinction level impact events like the Chicxulub crater of that size take place every 100 million years. So if the Chicxulub impact took place 65, 66 million years ago, statistically, we still got another 30 million years to go. Not too bad. Always understanding, of course, the solar system is a shooting gallery. Now, there were probably a lot more bullets in this shooting gallery in the earlier years of the solar system than there are now, but there's still a lot of stuff out there. They are not bound by our statistics. They could happen anytime, so don't completely stop worrying. This is why you watch me, isn't it? But yeah, statistically speaking, we got another 30 million years. We're probably okay. Don't need to worry about that too much. Supervolcanoes, on the other hand, tend to go off every 50,000 to 100,000 years. That's smaller. There is a wild card that we could throw in there, which is gamma ray bursts, but those are thought to only impact us maybe every 250,000 years, and it's still very debatable exactly what impact it would have on, life and extinction and stuff like that. So really, if we were to boil it all down, the one that probably would get us the soonest is a supervolcano. We're always worried about Yellowstone. I've done a video about how Yellowstone is not the only supervolcano to worry about. There's like 8 or 9 supervolcanoes around the world, active supervolcanoes that could, cause a problem if they went off. So the last supervolcano eruption that we know of was on the Taupo volcano in New Zealand, and that was around 26,500 years ago. So if supervolcano eruptions happen every 50 to 100,000 years, the most recent one was 26,000 years ago, so on the lower end, again, statistically, we got another 26,000 years or so to go. You got some time to build your bunker is what I'm saying. But if you want to really go dark, and I never do that, there are many who make the argument that we are currently going through a 6th mass extinction, that the number of species that are going extinct around the world has increased since industrialization, and of course it is from human overproduction, human overconsumption, human over everything, and they call it the Anthropocene extinction event, the one that we are causing. We are a very unsustainable species. We go way beyond what any other species in the world does, and we are using up the Earth's resources at an alarming and ever-expanding rate. So who knows whether or not all of these extinctions that are going on around us will eventually impact us. And whether we're going to do ourselves in, time will tell. Again, it just all depends on how dark you want to go right now. But that is an argument that many people are making, that we are currently in an extinction level event and it is caused by us. So maybe the natural disaster we need to be most afraid of is ourselves. We are the asteroid. We are the supervolcano. Let's see if the next question's lighter. Ian asks, what would be your method to create a realistic world peace in the next 400 years? Is that even possible? I honestly, I moved on to this question because the last one was too dark, and this might be a little dark too. It's funny, my wife and I, we just saw Disclosure Day. I'm probably recording this a couple weeks before it comes out, but yeah, we went and saw Disclosure Day, and we had this conversation afterwards about, like, why would an alien species want to come here? Like, why would they want to get involved with all this, you know? Like, from an outside perspective, an alien species looking at us, we just look like a species at constant civil war with ourselves. You know, they don't see Americans and Iranians and Russians and EU and all that kind of stuff. They just see a species constantly fighting with itself all the bloody time. Would you want to hang out with us?
You're it. Quincy's! Any Quincy's? You're it, Quincy's. No any Quincy's, no startsies.
You can't do that.
Can't do?
Cannot. Stamped it.
Can't do double stamped it, no erases.
Cannot. Triple stamped it. No erases. Touch blue, make it true.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd, you
guys! Enough!
Yeah, we are covered in red flags as a species. We do not have our shit together. Now, ironically, I think one of the few things that might actually bring us all together as a species would be the disclosure or discovery of an alien species. Either one that was hostile towards us and we all had to band together to defend ourselves, or even one that was peaceful, I think would cause us all to kind of like understand our place in the universe a little bit better and maybe, you know, come together a little bit, maybe? Not likely, but maybe? But seriously, I don't think that aliens would want anything to do with us until we had some kind of like unifying system on this planet where we all kind of were together under the same system. But what does that look like? That looks like a one world government. I mean, does anybody want that? Like, I think about this a lot. Like, we are just such tribal creatures. And I really think that the only way that we would ever really get along is if there was some like overpowering, crushing force making us get along, you know? And that looks a lot like fascism. So like, you know, all the chaos and fighting that we do now is bad, but the alternative to that ain't great either. So we kind of just accept the chaos and the violence in exchange for freedom and autonomy. So yeah, my honest answer is like the only thing that I can imagine that would really force us all to come together outside of just a worldwide like fascist totalitarian government kind of thing would be maybe an alien invasion that forces us all to work together, or like a worldwide pandemic of a virus that like takes away our tribalism and maybe even our agency. And now I'm just recapping the TV show Pluribus, basically. So yeah, I mean, world peace sounds great. I just don't know how we get there in a way that is not awful. That's my answer. All right, next question comes from I Love Thorium, who asked, why is it that animal babies are so capable of surviving danger on their own, but human babies are a full-time job just to keep alive? Do they have an anti-survival instinct or something? Yeah, I think that's it. I think we evolved to have a high child mortality rate, and where we screwed up was keeping the kids alive. Yeah, it's unnaturally low right now. We need to get that child mortality up. We're gonna have to let a few kids lick some power outlets. I'm sorry, guys. That was a joke. Please stop with the comments now. No, this is an interesting question. I always wondered that because, yeah, you know, like a lot of animals are born and can immediately walk, whereas it takes humans, you know, a year and a half to be able to walk. What is that about? It seems evolutionarily like a bad strategy, you know? Well, I found an article in Scientific American by the author Kate Wong. It says why humans give birth to helpless babies. So that seems to, you know, kind of answer the question there. But the point that it makes is that, like, once upon a time, it was thought that because our brains are so big, our babies have to be born earlier because at a certain point, the female pelvis would have to get so wide to accommodate the head of a smart baby or a fully term baby that it would affect their locomotion. That basically the hips would get so wide that it would cause extra energy just to walk. And nature's all about conserving energy. So the way it wound up playing out was that we had to start having babies earlier, and then because, we have hands and we can care for them, we were caring for them. It says here in the article that by one estimation, a human fetus would have to undergo a gestation period of 18 to 21 months instead of the usual 9 to be born at a neurological and cognitive development stage comparable to that of, say, a chimpanzee. But there's a new theory that kind of pushes back against this, the pelvic theory. It was put forth by Holly M. Dunsworth at the University of Rhode Island, and they call it the obstetrical dilemma hypothesis. So their contention is that it's the metabolic rate, it's the mother's metabolic rate, that they can only spend so much energy, carrying this baby before it becomes a liability. It says data from a wide range of mammals suggests that there's a limit to how large and energetically expensive a fetus can grow before it has to check out of the womb. And that, quote, energetic constraints of both mother and fetus are the primary determinants of gestation length and fetal growth in humans and across mammals. So yeah, by 9 months or so, the metabolic expenditure that's required to, develop and carry this baby becomes something that can't be sustainable anymore. So your mama got to eat it out. That article was published in 2012. There was another theory, though, that was kind of mentioned in the article that I thought was really interesting, which is that it has a social component to it. It says that idea, first proposed by Swiss zoologist Adolf Portman in the 1960s, says that, quote, maybe human newborns are adapted to soaking up all this cultural stuff, and that maybe being born earlier lets you do this. That maybe being born earlier is better if you're a cultural animal. So yeah, the point being that, we are such cultural animals, we are such social animals, and we have so many rigid kind of rules around our society and whatnot that we actually need to be born earlier so that we can absorb all that stuff and then fit into the norms of the society that we live in. And that's an interesting theory. I mean, we all know that we are very social creatures in a lot of different ways. I don't know how physically the mechanism would come about that would require, maybe evolutionarily speaking, babies that were born later on and more fully developed did struggle to fit into a more social tribal species, and maybe the babies that were born a little bit earlier soaked that stuff in and therefore prospered a little more. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how the mechanism of it works, but it's an interesting idea. So I guess the answer to the question is there's various theories, but I don't think there's any one solid answer that, all scientists have coalesced around right now. A good question. Rave Zero Humor Singer asked, what's the most unexpected thing you 100% believed in the past and 100% disbelieve now? What changed? What about the reverse? A threefer? So many questions, so many different variations on that. I don't know why I want to go here with this answer. But I think the best answer I can give is in terms of something that I totally used to believe and now I don't know, let's say 95% don't believe, is the JFK conspiracies. And I think the reason I point to this one is because I 100% believed in the JFK conspiracies. That scene in JFK between Donald Sutherland and Kevin Costner when he's giving him all these things and he's just struggling to write it all down, the Mr. X, whatever that guy's name was. I absorbed that stuff and believed it to my very core. I don't think any of it's true anymore, though. And here's the thing. I know that, probably the majority of people that hear me saying that are in the comments right now are how the hell can you possibly think that Oswald acted alone? Here's the funny thing, though. The conspiracy theories around JFK are now more accepted than the, conventional wisdom that Oswald acted alone. We have reached that point where more people believe the conspiracy theories around JFK's assassination than the official, statement on it. And that's interesting, don't you think? But over the years, and I don't know how much of this is me being on this channel, and I've become a lot more suspicious of conspiracy theories. They all seem to have some kind of an agenda. And there's always a conspiracy theory. Have you noticed that? There's always a conspiracy theory. No matter what happens, there's a conspiracy theory. Now, I don't know how much of this is just because I've gotten older and mellower or whatever, and how much of it is because of all the stuff that I've done on the channel over the last 10 years. But I'm very aware now that everything has a conspiracy theory. Every big thing has a conspiracy theory. I think because we need there to be a big reason for big things to happen. And I have now gone more toward the direction of we live in a very chaotic and random world, and sometimes shit happens. It's a whole like worldview that I have now, and I've talked about it in various places. I'll spare you the whole thing right now, but I feel like we as humans always need to have some big reason why big things happen, and it's just, that doesn't mean it's true. There's a great video, I'll link it down below. Actually, it's a 2-part video by a historian here on YouTube named Sean Munger. He has a 2-part video, and each of them are like 2 hours long, so it is extensive, where he breaks down all the different JFK conspiracy theories and breaks down Oswald and his background and everything. And there's a pretty compelling case to be made that, yeah, he was just a lone actor who had an axe to grind. That wasn't the first time he tried to kill somebody. He tried to kill a general here in Dallas at one point, shot through his window. And he was kind of just a big old loser who thought that he was very much Catcher in the Rye type. Like he thought that he was just like better than everybody and wanted to leave a mark on the world. And that's true of most of these situations. So that's going to catch me a lot of hell in the comments, I can tell already. But I encourage you to go watch these videos that I'm linking down below, because they are pretty compelling. And you can argue with them all you want. But the reverse, something that I didn't used to believe that I believe now. Is that right? So something I used to not believe but do not? Yeah. This is kind of a weird answer, but my own thoughts. I don't believe them anymore. I have this whole big thing now, and I think I got this through years of meditation and whatnot, that your thoughts are not you. Just because you think something doesn't mean you think something. It just means that one part of your brain lit up in a weird way, and you were like, oh, that's a crazy thought. I think we run into a lot of trouble when we tie our identity to our thoughts. We start to think that just because we think something, that's who we are and that's what we believe, and that's not true. There's all kinds of subconscious modules going on in your brain. They're all fighting for supremacy. You really do have different voices in your head competing with each other all the time. And just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's real, and it doesn't mean that you believe it, and it doesn't mean that that's who you are. The more we tie our identities into our thoughts, the harder it is to change our mind and accept new information when the old information isn't right anymore. So it's become this really important thing to me now to just kind of like be okay with my thoughts, but don't like buy into all of them, you know? But I used to be like that. I used to think that, you know, when I had a thought, that it was real and that must mean something. I just don't anymore. Along with that is I don't take things as personally as I used to, you know, because I would take something and make it an identity thing and get all butthurt about it. And I just don't now. I think what other people do has a lot less to do with me and a lot more to do with them. And yeah, it's a much better, healthier place for me to be in. Join me. All right, next up, Kalle Brixt Hagholm. I know I'm pronouncing your name wrong every time. I'm so sorry. Please correct me somewhere. They asked, what would you like to see Ben and Adam try in the snack zone? So he's referring to Jet Lag, the game show Jet Lag, which is over on Nebula, but I think they're also on YouTube as well. So I always watch them over on Nebula. But they do have a recurring segment called the Snack Zone, because they're traveling everywhere, and so they'll like buy different snacks from different places and try it out and kind of rate them. And there's only one answer to this, and I will fight anybody who says otherwise. They need to eat some surströmming. I'm not even sure I'm saying that right, but the Norwegian fermented fish can thing. They need to be in a car, they need to be driving, they need to open a can of surströmming, and I want to see what happens. Because I've seen other people do it, and it looks horrific. Come on, Ben. Come on, Adam. You know you want to try it. Let's see it. Just put it on a cracker. All right, next up, Donna Sawyer asked, can you do a, quote, Joe report on the 650-foot tsunami from 2023? I'm not sure how I missed that. I missed it too. So I did a little looking around. It looks like the tsunami that she's talking about was actually a megatsunami that happened in Greenland in the Dixon Fjord. So here on Wikipedia, they have a couple of pictures. The Dixon Fjord right here in East Greenland. For a closer look, here's the full picture of this fjord right here. That's the Dixon Fjord. That's where the tsunami took place. If you zoom in to that square right there, and they cut in here, and you can see where like basically the path of this whole thing was. Right here is where the tsunami took place, and then it caused phase 2 and phase 3 in these different directions. So we can cut in here to this NASA article where it's talking about like some of the readings they got from a satellite called the SWAT satellite. SWAT stands for Surface Water and Ocean Topography Satellite. And you can see here in these images, maybe I can go in a little bit tighter, not really. You can see the landslide location there. So the higher elevation change is the lighter the color right there. So you can see that it kind of started over here. Well, there's a landslide right there. There's a landslide right there. And you can see that it kind of sloshed up over here to its highest point right there, and then kind of went back and forth throughout the fjord. What I was reading about this was it was saying that these tsunamis tend to happen in these fjords where there's glacial retreat. Greenland, obviously warming up, some of the glaciers retreating. Well, what happens is if you have this valley, this fjord, where there's a glacier in there, as it retreats, then you have all of this rock that used to be supported by the glacier that's not supported anymore. And if it's unstable, you'll get a landslide, it hits the water, and because there's a narrow gully right there, it'll slosh up higher as it kind of oscillates back and forth across the fjord. Pulling up a channel here called Geology Hub. It's a great geology channel if you're into that kind of thing, but he kind of has a really great visualization here I'm going to show you. So here he shows like how it progressed through this canyon here. I'm calling it a canyon. It's a fjord. And as it kind of goes through, like you can see, it expands out and it sloshes around, eventually hitting this Ella Island up here. So Ella Island does have a settlement there. It's called Ella. It's kind of like a fishing village, but it's usually only habitated in the summer months, and this happened in September. So luckily there was nobody there. It did cause some damage to that settlement, but there were no injuries or deaths or anything. So that's a good thing. But yeah, this oscillation created a 200-meter high megatsunami. That's around 600 feet, which is just an insane size of a tsunami. Luckily, again, nobody was hurt. But here's the crazy bit. According to this article in Science, a rock slide generated tsunami in the Greenland fjord rang Earth for 9 days. This created a seismic wave that traveled around the Earth for 9 whole days. So here they refer to a seiche. I think I'm pronouncing that right. A seiche is apparently when it's like a standing wave in water when it's kind of like what creates a rogue wave. It's when certain waves kind of combine to go bigger, and that's kind of what happened in that fjord. So yeah, definitely a mega tsunami, a huge event that was recorded all around the world. But yeah, I guess maybe the reason none of us really heard much about it was because thankfully nobody was hurt and it just all kind of took place in a very remote area. But yeah, that's crazy. Thanks for bringing it up. All right, we got one more question to get to, but before we do that, we need to christen the new Patreon members and channel supporters with the power of Zoe. Let's do it. First, we've got Juan Garcia, Greg McPherson, Ryan Warren, Sherry Oliver Amasri, Marcos T. in Gameplays et Disendos, Kat Davidson, Michael Davis, Jay Brown, Clayton Jared, Justin Fail, Connor J.D., Tarakas the Great, Ed Starr, Simon Palm, Chad Weeks, and DD. Thank you guys so much for signing up and for all your support. You are the real heroes here. If you'd like to join them, you can go to patreon.com/answerswithjoe to sign up there or become a channel member. Either way, you'll join an awesome community of people who are doing really cool things and supporting each other. You'll have access to Discord, all kinds of cool stuff, and that's how you do it. To become a member, just hit the join button down below. Nice. All right, and our last question goes to Fishtail, who says, I have seen a lot of YouTube content providers making long-form videos of over an hour. Some of them are making compilation videos of previous videos. Is this due to an algorithm change? It's a few different things. So first of all, as y'all might remember, I was doing some compilation videos early this year and late last year. That was sort of fill in some gaps because I was doing some things outside of YouTube and it was affecting my ability to get all the videos out. But surprisingly, a lot of people seem to really like them. I got some comments from people saying that it was a good intro to the channel. So for some of it, I think for the compilations thing, I think it is a little bit of just sort of, let's repurpose some old content. We spent all this time making it in the past. How can we get, more bang for our buck with it? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if it's a way to kind of like bring people in to the channel. But also, a lot of people watch videos when they're sleeping, and a good 3-hour-long compilation of videos kind of does the job there. So it does serve a purpose, but that was why I was doing that anyway. So yeah, watch time has always been an important metric in the algorithm. So yeah, a longer video would get more watch time. It's also no secret that a longer video is more opportunity to put in mid-roll ads. Now I gotta clarify this real quick. I have never made a longer video in order to put more mid-roll ads in there. I've never consciously done that. This is a misconception that a lot of people seem to have, and I kind of understand why people would think that. And by the way, some people might do that for that reason. I don't know. I'm sure there's some creators out there that do. But no, when you upload a video, you basically just select whether it will have mid-roll ads or not. And then YouTube just kind of like puts as many in there as it wants to. And I basically just kind of like look into the comments, and when people say, hey, this is way too many ads, I'm like, okay, I'll go and I'll take some out. I have never added more. I've always removed. I have never added more. But basically anytime a creator is doing something and you start asking like, why are all these creators doing this? It's because it's working in one way or another. Nobody does something if it's not working. If it doesn't work, you stop doing it. But now something I say a lot at YouTube is that like the algorithm is the audience. With the sense that like, you know, creators always like, how can I hack the algorithm or whatever? When really what you want to do is hack the audience in some way, like give the audience what they want. And the algorithm reflects that. Because the algorithm is very much a reflection of what each individual viewer is doing. So like, look, I watch mostly YouTube, for better or for worse, probably for worse. But like a lot of you guys, I'm on YouTube a lot. It's kind of my job to be aware of what's going on YouTube. And something that I've noticed is that, look, I'll get different videos in my feed on this computer versus on my phone versus on the TV downstairs. And I get different videos recommended depending on the time of day. Like at night, I start to watch satisfying content to sort of like, you know, wind down and whatnot. And I will get into my YouTube, and it's those satisfying videos start showing up. Like, they are watching you and they are adjusting accordingly. So you start getting into this cycle where the algorithm reflects what the audience wants. And then the creators change the kind of content that they make based off of what the algorithm does. And then the stuff that the creators make sort of changes what the audience looks at, which changes the algorithm, which changes the creators, which changes the audience, which changes the algorithm. It's a vicious spiral. Something else that might point toward why people are doing longer content is because YouTube is now more in competition with, say, Netflix. They are still doing like the shorts that are competing with TikTok and the socials and stuff like that. YouTube is in this weird space between being like a distributor of you know, high valuable content and, you know, a slop factory. And to the point that I was making about the algorithm kind of reflecting what you're doing, I'm starting to get into this weird place where I don't want to say this to like chastise people. I'm doing this to myself as well. But like, if you get upset about what the algorithm is giving you, it's reflecting what you're looking at. It's reflecting what you're giving it. So if you want the algorithm to give you something different, you got to intentionally change what you're looking at. You have to like be a part of the experience every once in a while and not just mindlessly scroll. So like, look, I'm getting comments almost in every single video of somebody either saying like, hey, I'm glad you're back, or saying, why haven't I seen you pop up in my feed in years? I'm subscribed to you. Why didn't I know you were still posting stuff? And this happens to me too. There's creators that I've watched for years that I kind of just forgot about because it wasn't showing up in my feed anymore. And it was probably because, I'm not saying the algorithm is smart here, but it was probably because I didn't watch a couple of their videos that came out in a row because whatever, the topic wasn't something I was interested in, or I didn't have the time or whatever, and I just didn't watch it, and the algorithm's like, oh, I guess you're done with that creator forever. Okay, well, go look at this now. But the funny thing that happens is if one of those creators show up, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that person, and I watch the video, guess what the very next screen on the feed is? It's like, got their videos in there. So this is the advice that I give people, and I give this to myself as well. I talk to me too. But be intentional about what you're looking at online. Don't just scroll. Don't let some algorithm decide what you want to see. Every once in a while, if you have a thought about like, hey, whatever happened to that one creator, actually search their name, go to their channel, and watch 2 or 3 other videos. I promise you, they will start showing up in your feed again. It's kind of that simple. So like that's what I always tell people whenever they're like, how come I haven't seen you in my feed in a while? And I'm like, go watch some of my videos. You know, you feel like you missed a bunch of videos, then go watch them, get caught up. I guarantee you will see a ton of my videos show up in your algorithm. The fact of the matter is subscriptions are really more of a vanity metric now, and just because you're subscribed to somebody does not mean that you're going to see them in your feed. There is also the subscription tab that you can just go to and watch the people that you're subscribed to. People forget that even exists anymore. But yeah, again, it's not me sitting here telling you that you're wrong, and I'm not trying to like give you a hard to swallow pill or anything, but really the algorithm reflects you. So from time to time, you do have to take some intention and some agency and tell the algorithm what to send you. And you don't do that by just scrolling. You have to actually get in there and search for something and look something up and follow up with an old creator, or search on a topic and maybe find a new creator. Like we have to start taking back our agency from the algorithms, or we have to start like guiding the algorithms and take control of them instead of letting them control us. It's a whole thing. Can you tell I'm on a roll here? But that's it for today. Thank you guys so much. By the way, Pressure Changes Everything t-shirts now available at the store, lastmartyr.com. I've been talking about doing a t-shirt with that logo on it for a long time. We got them. We got a few different designs. I think they're really cool. Go check them out. Also, the more you Joe shirts on there as well. I don't wear this enough. And please do like and share this video if you liked it. And if this is your first time here, maybe check out this video. Google thinks you'll like that one. And if you enjoy that, yeah, maybe think about subscribing, because I just keep making these things. But until next time, you guys go out there, have an eye-opening rest of the week. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys next Monday. Love you guys. Take care.